This is Spark, Hilton's brand new budget hotel. Launched in 2023, it's one of Hilton's newest brands and a fresh face in the hotel world. The promise is simple, the trust and quality of the Hilton name for a fraction of the price. Tonight I'm staying at the Spark by Hilton in London Romford, one of only 2 locations in England so far. I'll see if it delivers on its promise of a premium modern stay, or if there are major compromises lurking behind the new paintwork. Let's head in and take a look. Okay, so I'm inside the room. It's a very small room. At the front of the room there's a storage unit, and inside there you have a little hanging space with real coat hangers. You also have an iron in there, but there's no ironing board in the room, so not that practical, although you could probably use the bed as an ironing board at a pinch. And we have tea and coffee making facilities with a couple of UHT milks, a couple of tea bags, just PG tips, and a Twinings English breakfast tea, as well as some sachets of instant coffee. Take a quick look inside the kettle. Yeah, and that's pretty clean in there. And down on the bottom shelf, you've got a hairdryer. The room also has a big flat screen TV. And there's a good sized bed in the room with lots of pillows. And over on this side you've got a little bedside table as well. Little bedside light. And a couple of power points and USB charging ports down there as well. And you've got those on either side of the bed. And in this side of the bed you have a stool that you can sit on, but we don't have a work desk. So you've got the stool, but nothing to work on, which could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. There's only a very narrow gap along the side of the bed, which makes it very awkward if you need to get across to the other side of the room. And there's underbed storage. Okay, let's take a look at the view out the window. It's just a frosted window behind me. You can see nothing at all through the window. So even though we've got a window, we don't have a view. It's basically just a source of light. Better than nothing. Okay, now let's take a look inside the bathroom. Now coming into the bathroom, it's fairly compact, but everything that you need is there. You've got a nice shower in here with 2 sets of shampoo here, as well as conditioner and shower gel. And then you've got a nice little sink in this room here. You have a hand wash, and there's also body lotion, which you don't usually get in a hotel in this price range. And of course, a toilet. Okay, so what's the bed like? Now this bed, the mattress feels a little bit firmer than a lot of other hotels, which may not suit everyone, but I'll just have a lie down on it. That feels really, really comfortable for me, but I like a firmer mattress. It may not suit everyone. Not everyone would be thrilled with this, but I'm pretty happy with this mattress. Guests staying at the Spark by Hilton get free Wi-Fi wireless internet access. Let's see how fast it is. So that's pretty fast Wi-Fi. The modest lobby area is where you'll find the hotel's reception desk and a bar area with a choice of seating. You can sit at tables if you're catching up on work, or sink into one of the sofas for something more relaxed. There's also a small hydration station where you can help yourself to a glass of water. If this hotel was a biscuit, what biscuit would it be? If the Spark by Hilton Romford were a biscuit, it would be a Fox's Golden Crunch Cream. The Fox's Crunch Cream has the same modern, budget with a twist vibe as this hotel. The Spark by Hilton is a newer, affordable Hilton brand, aiming to feel brighter and fresher than a typical budget chain. Fox's Crunch Creams fit that mould. They're still an affordable and accessible supermarket biscuit, but a bit more indulgent and contemporary than a bourbon or a custard cream. It's recognisable, but not the obvious choice. Much like the Spark by Hilton isn't as widely known as a premier inn or a travel lodge. Crunch Creams aren't the first biscuit most people think of, yet they're familiar enough to feel welcoming. The sweet crunchy biscuit with a creamy filling just feels a little bit more special than a plain tea biscuit, mirroring Spark's slightly upgraded aesthetic compared to older budget hotels. It's the kind of biscuit you'd be pleasantly surprised to see on the tea tray. Exactly the feeling Spark is going for with its budget but better branding.
Let's take a look at the neighbourhood around the hotel. The hotel is virtually next door to Romford Station, which makes this a convenient spot to stay if you're looking for somewhere cheap with easy transport connections into central London. Romford is served by the Elizabeth line with trains into central London every 8 minutes and direct trains to Heathrow every half hour. It's only a 3-minute walk north of the hotel to the pedestrianised South Street and the Liberty Shopping Centre. Here you'll find plenty of places to eat and drink, and just a few minutes walk north from here will take you to some of Romford's more historic points of interest. You can even find a pie and mash shop here in Romford. These used to be all over East London, but now there's only a handful left. It's the perfect spot if you really want to try jellied eels or pie and mash. Sure, you'll probably not like it, but how often do you get the chance to try jellied eels? I'm outside the Golden Lion, which is so much more than a pub. It's a living slice of history that's been standing here since the 15th century, and it claims to be the oldest inn in England that has been in continuous use as a pub. The Golden Lion, or the Lion as it was originally called, was once a vital coaching inn on the route from London to Colchester. On Wednesdays, Fridays and Saturdays, this spot right behind me is home to Romford Market. The market's been running since 1247 when King Henry III granted a royal charter. For nearly 800 years, this very ground has been the hub of trade. Originally the market was for sheep and cattle, and the charter outlawed any rival markets within a day's sheep drive, which is why not every town in England can call itself a market town. This clever bit of medieval protection helped Romford blossom. While the last cattle were sold here in 1958, the market's spirit is as strong as ever. If you want to discover more about the local area, then pop into the Havering Museum, tucked away in what remains of the old Romford Brewery. The museum tells the story of the entire borough of Havering, from prehistoric times to the present day. The exhibits are fascinating, covering everything from local industries to the stories of famous residents. While the local area doesn't have quite as much to offer as central London, it has everything you need and even a few historic points of interest. Although most people don't stay in Romford for its local attractions, they stay here because it's cheaper than a more centrally located hotel and because of the easy access to central London.
I paid £81 to stay at the Spark by Hilton, and that's on a Saturday night, which is usually the most expensive night to stay in a hotel. If I stayed the following night, on a Sunday, I could have stayed here for only £59. That's a great deal for a hotel of this standard. Of course, the reason it's so cheap is because it's not in central London. A similar hotel in central London on the same night would have easily cost me over £250. So what do I think after spending a night at the Spark by Hilton? The Spark by Hilton isn't just a cheaper Hilton, it's a completely different type of Hilton, made for a very specific traveller, and that very specific type of traveller could very well be you. The premium economy promise is actually spot on. The good parts are genuinely good. It's incredibly clean, the rooms are modern, the staff are friendly, and the essentials like a good bed and a powerful shower are all there. It's not perfect though. It's at the budget end of the market, which means that you shouldn't expect any major amenities beyond the restaurant and bar near the reception area. There's no swimming pool, there's no gym, and the in-room amenities are fairly thin on the ground too. A deal breaker for some would be the lack of a proper work desk. On the plus side, it does have a few little things that you don't normally find in a hotel room in this price bracket. For instance, you get separate shampoo, conditioner and shower gel instead of an all-in-one wash that you quite often get at a cheap place. And there's even a bottle of body lotion in the bathroom. There's also an iron in the room, which you wouldn't normally get for this price, although it's pretty useless without an ironing board. This hotel is designed to be a launch pad for exploring the city, not a resort for you to hang out in. It's a clean, modern and safe place to sleep and shower before you head out. And for those wondering about driving, it's worth noting that there's no on-site parking, although this is pretty common for hotels in any big city in England, and the location right next to Romford station means it's easy to get into central London. I stayed in a 12 square metre room. That's compact, but in a city where some hotel rooms are half this size, I thought it was perfectly fine. But some people will want more space. If you're a solo traveller or a couple travelling light, planning a short stay, and you're using public transport to get around London, then the Spark by Hilton in Romford offers fantastic value. You get to stay in a clean and modern hotel, and you save money by staying outside central London. For many people, the commute and the small room is a compromise well worth making. However, if you're a family that needs space, if you've got a lot of luggage, or if you just want the full service hotel experience with a gym and other perks, then you may want to look elsewhere. The limitations will start to annoy you pretty quickly. Spark by Hilton is a really interesting move for the company. It's an honest attempt to do the basics really, really well for a low price. But it's all about compromise. You get the Hilton clean, but not the Hilton space. You get the modern room, but no gym. You get an unbeatable train connection in exchange for a compact, no-frills stay. If this new brand takes off, it could very well give Premier Inn a run for its money. What do you think? Would you stay here? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.